Trading deadline season is upon us. We did get a report from Shams Charania this week on a ESPN Plus
Mm-hmm.
article. So it's really weird. So in one breath, they want to be buyers. In another breath, they're like, we'll be facilitators. So I'm going to phrase the question this way for you. With their available cap space, they have around 14 million since they reconstructed Paul Reed's contract. They have an available roster spot. What avenue do you think they should take? Because I think being buyers, some fans kind of have tunnel vision and they want to skip steps. And Trajan, told you were in that media room that they weren't
Yeah.
going to skip steps. They were going to do this the right way. So
Mm-hmm.
at this deadline, like, what are you expecting out of them to, possibly attack?
I think there are two things that they probably need to attack. First off, I still think they need to go ahead and find a true stretch forward for this team. I think that is something that they are really, really missing. I also think they still need more scoring out of that wing position. I will say, they've Asar Thompson coming back in this, the way he's been able to play on both ends of the court. That's been a huge plus for them. But I think if they can improve their scoring and improve that scoring around Cade Cunningham, that is something that they really need to entertain. And as far as being buyers or facilitators, here's what I'll say. I think they should only be buyers at the trade deadline if the trade makes sense. Now I know that's like, oh well, that's not really any type of analysis, but I mean, when you're talking about this team right now, where are they at? They're floating between 6 and 8 on any given week. That to me means that you only should really be making a trade if it's going to get you over the hump. Because as currently constructed, you're either a playoff team or a play-in team. And I think we can both say if this team is a play-in or playoff team, this season, they're way ahead of schedule. So I don't think you need to go unless you're going to get an all-star that's going to thrust you into that top 4. Stand pat and let the season play out the way it is, because I mean, let's say you go out there and you get a Zach LaVine who pretty much does not want to come to Detroit, regardless of how you say it. Do you really want to be tied into that guy's contract for the next couple of years that's only getting bigger and bigger and bigger? Correct me if I'm wrong on the numbers. They're a little bit fudged since I last seen them, but I believe like I think next year he's going to get paid as much as 54, 55 million per season. Okay. Does Zach LaVine make you this acquiring Zach LaVine, and you're probably going to have to give up some pieces to get him? Does Zach LaVine make you an Eastern Conference contender? Maybe, maybe not. It depends on who they get. We both know I was high on Brandon Ingram. I'm not so sure how if they should give up any type of the farm for him right now, because again, this team is trending as a top 6 team. So it's kind of tricky. I'll just say that if they're able to make a trade that allows them to get some additional scoring or another ball handler where they're not tied into the deal financially for very long, then okay, cool. Because that is why I like the signings of Tobias Harris, Malik Beasley, who I think they need to keep off the trade market and retain this offseason, and then them acquiring Tim Hardaway Jr., because those are all deals you can get out of real easy. I mean, if you're Tim Hardaway expiring contract, you might be able to flip him in some type of package deal. I think that Tobias Harris' first year here is a wash as far as the deal goes. So next year you're looking into that being an expiring deal. So it's kind of like, I'm just in the mood of just kind of like just see how this team is looking over these next couple of games and see what these teams are talking about as far as trades. But I don't think they need to panic and go make some trade where they're locked into somebody's contract long term. I think the way that they've been building this right now, they're ahead of schedule. No need to just, abandon that.
Yeah, I think at the beginning of the season, if you followed the Pistons, they were saying like, we'll be a dumping ground. If you have a bad contract, We'll take it. Just give us draft assets. And that was the first move that Trajan made. He traded a Quentin Grimes, who was a young, promising player, but he got a THJ who was on the NBA Finals team last year in Dallas, and he got 3 second-round picks. And one of the second-round picks they got is going to be Toronto's second-round pick, which is basically going to be a late first because Toronto's really bad this year. I think what I would kind of tell fans is it's okay to be excited about this team. It's okay to, want to get another secondary ball handler next to Cade, a number 2 option, a backup point guard. I understand it. This is probably the most excited we've been about the Detroit Pistons, probably since the 41-41 season with Blake Griffin and Dwayne Casey. They haven't done that much winning during the rebuild. It's been really rough, especially last year. 14 wins, that was really drastic. Imagine doing podcasts on a week-to-week basis during a 28-game losing streak.
Imagine being there every home game.
Yeah, literally, man. Imagine trying to cover the team and trying to find bright spots. I get it. I think what the Pistons are, telling us without actually telling us is we will be buyers if the move makes sense contractually and if it makes us a better basketball team. We'll be facilitators if we can get, and we're going to get into these, 5-team trade proposals from Kevin O'Connor a little bit later. We'll be facilitators if maybe we could get a player to help us out. I'm going to bring up this team, Kory, and you probably know where I'm going with this. When the Cavs were in their rebuild, they weren't going out and making these sexy free agent acquisitions. They put themselves in the Jared Allen trade because they had available cap space and they're willing to take on his deal. Same with Karis LeVert. Karis LeVert, to an extent, isn't the same time of impact player as a Jared Allen, but you get what I'm saying. Yeah. I think that's what the Pistons are going to do. They're going to take a Cleveland Cavalier approach where they have cap space, they have a roster spot open. Who knows what happens with Zach LaVine at the deadline? Who knows what happens with Bradley Beal, Jimmy Butler? There's a lot of disgruntled stars out there right now, and the Pistons are the only team in the NBA that have one available cap space, but they have $14 million worth of available cap space and an open roster spot. So I think Trajan in this front office is being very strategic and opportunistic with this deadline that is fastly approaching on February 6th. I'm not really sure what they're going to do, and I don't even think they know what they're going to do yet because it's still very, very early. We still have another, week and a half until this deadline is over. But I would just caution fans, pump the brakes a little bit of, trying to put all your chips in for a superstar.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think there will be, they're kind of don't know what they want to do yet because again, they're ahead of schedule. I mean, they have to see what is going to be the move that makes the most sense for us. I think really it's going to be financially because when you start winning games, when you start becoming an attractive destination, you want to be able to have some type of financial flexibility to be able to go out in free agency and maybe lure a star here, something that Detroit really has not been able to do over the past couple of years. So if you have the financial flexibility and you're winning, again, this is a great spot for them right now. So yeah, I only see them being buyers if they're able to get something that truly makes them better, that is not a real bloated contract. I mean, they were, I think the dumping ground thing was really smart early on because Trajan Langdon said they were going to be a dumping ground if they were able to get, the assets to come with it. Right now, with them being, a little bit ahead of schedule as far as this rebuild is concerned, they don't have to be they don't have to come off as desperate.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? They don't have to just be okay, we're gonna just give you whatever just so we can go ahead and get over this hump right now. No, we're in a real sweet spot. If we're 6-8 in year one after coming off 14-68, we're good.